Thank you. Great turnout. I'm so proud to be a part of you people. Okay? But before I start, I want to recognize somebody here. Okay? We're all encouraged to get involved. Okay? Especially in local politics, and just have our voices heard. One of us here in the room, here, took that challenge and went and ran for school board in this local community. And the day before the election, there he is. The day before the election, he was told that the constable's position was up for grabs. He took it upon himself. He made up a bunch of flyers, went around, and saw the people in his community and got like 100 signatures. And he's now a Commonwealth of Pennsylvania state constable. Talking about Mr. Robert Pepe. I know when Mr. Pepe takes the oath of office to the Constitution of the United States and to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, he's actually read these documents.
One side note, this is kind of a funny anecdote because I learned this week that I was actually, not only was I elected to the school board and Reading County Constable, but I received letters from the Montgomery County Board of Elections that I was also in the running for 2 other positions as a write-in candidate. I don't know what the results were, but potentially I could have been elected to 4 positions in one day.
Hey guys, where are the teleprompters? How am I going to possibly know what to say to these nice Americans without teleprompters?
We don't need teleprompters.
Hey, wait a minute. How about if I just tell them the truth?
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
We don't need help.
Okay. From the age of uniformity, from the age of solitude, from the age of Big Brother, from the age of doublethink, greetings. He was already dead, he reflected. It seemed to him that it was only now, when he had begun to be able to formulate his thoughts, that he had taken the decisive step. The consequences of every act are included in the act itself. He wrote, "Thought crime does not entail death. Thought crime is death." Now he had recognized himself as a dead man. It became important to stay alive as long as possible. These words are from the book 1984, and I bring them to your attention today because they reveal a society that, as was predicted by George Orwell, is rapidly becoming our reality, and is the antithesis of what our founding fathers believed and fought for over 222 years ago. They met a block from where we gather here today. I'm here to tell you that we're in trouble. We're facing a crisis in this nation that's far more serious than most Americans realize or care to admit. The economic crisis and the healthcare crisis are merely symptoms of a much larger problem, and that is that we Americans, by and large, have turned our backs on liberty. Liberty as our founding fathers knew and understood it. Liberty as it's rooted in the natural law. We've become complacent and apathetic to a degree that our founders could never have imagined. Yet we, in just a few generations, in fact within the span of a single human lifetime, have allowed our country and our heritage to be stolen from us because we turned our backs on the great gift that they gave us. The natural law has been called God's law, the universal laws, the laws of nature. It matters not how we refer to it. One need not be religious nor even believe in God in order to come to acknowledge, accept, and embrace the natural law. The underlying principle of which is simply the concept of self-ownership. I own me and you own you. And no one can have a higher claim to our life than us. If someone could have a higher claim to our life, then that would make us slaves. And I don't hear too many Americans running around admitting to being enslaved. Although, as I'm sure as many of you are aware, we can probably make that argument. Our rights are not bestowed upon us by some bureaucrat or any document. Our natural rights are bestowed upon us by our Creator. We have our natural rights simply by virtue of our humanity, and they can never be separated from us. This idea was beautifully put to paper in the second paragraph of the Declaration of Independence, as written by Thomas Jefferson. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So what is a self-evident truth? It's the natural law. Just as no reasonable human being would argue that gravity exists or that it has serious consequences if we attempt to deny it, so too are the rights of man. And they are unalienable, meaning that they cannot be separated from us any more than our thoughts can be separated from us. They exist now and for always. We must acknowledge also that with our rights come responsibility. Liberty and responsibility are two sides of the same coin. It only makes sense that because we are the owner of our life, that we're responsible for taking care of it. We're all human, we're all going to get hungry, and therefore we should probably make arrangements for a meal. Now, in days past, that might have meant that we would have to go out and hunt and fish, or gather, or plant a crop, you know, work! It's really no different in modern society. We all have to go out and provide some useful product or service to our fellow man in exchange for money that we can then exchange for our necessities. But this is something that we must do for ourselves. The only legitimate role of government should be to ensure that we have the freedom to pursue our goals within the boundaries of our natural rights. So it's on this basis that our founding fathers created a form of government that acknowledged the natural law and set out to preserve these rights of man. A government that was meant to be strictly limited in nature. Thomas Jefferson told us that the only legitimate function of government is the preservation of life and property. So the only job of government is to ensure a level playing field. With that in mind, the Constitution was drafted. The Constitution was not written for the people, it was written for the government. It is a delegation of authority by we the people to the government. It's the rule book by which government must abide in all of its actions. So when Nancy Pelosi was asked several weeks ago, where in the Constitution do you or Congress have the authority to create any proposed health care legislation, her befuddled response was, "Are you serious? Are you serious?" That was my best Nancy Pelosi. Her spokesman then followed up with, "That is not a serious question. That is not a serious question." Apparently there's an echo in the halls of Congress, as if repeating themselves or talking down to us as though we were children will somehow make us shut up and go away. I'm not willing to go away. We must recognize that our minds have been hijacked. We've been taught since childhood, in fact I say indoctrinated, into the belief that it is the highest of virtues for us to obey our authority figures without question. This is why Nancy Pelosi and her henchmen were so shocked and astonished that we should have asked such an insulting question. We were deviating from our programming. But I'm awake now, and I realize that our world has been turned upside down. Our elected representatives do not have rights. They have privileges that have been bestowed upon them by we the people, those who voted and permit them to serve in office. Furthermore, the privileges that they enjoy can never exceed our natural rights. Therefore, the idea, the notion that they can go and take from one citizen to then redistribute to another citizen, regardless of how altruistic the idea behind it, is patently absurd. But they've been very good at convincing us that this is how we should be living our lives, particularly those that benefit from the programs. But this is how we should live our lives, in direct violation of the natural law. We've allowed our society